I spoke previously about gender biases in society, and this is the last time I'm going to talk about the topic because I'm getting sick and tired of it. It's like nothing's improving. People stereotype all the time to fit their agenda, their narrative, but what it does, it marginalizes people. And I think it's very dangerous to just accuse people of something with no substance behind it, just because someone else has acted or behaved in a certain way and they aesthetically look similar. It's like, it's so naive, but it's ignorant as well. And it's like, that doesn't even make sense. So even before I get there, people will notice that my videos no longer have comments. I've spoken in the past. I don't really comment too much on other people's content in general, so I'm not really a big commenter. Also, and you only have to go through social media, scour through YouTube, scour through social media. It's very rare for there to be an educated comment in reaction or response to any content. A lot of time it's reactive, it's impulsive, and it adds no substance. It's just it's just people just reacting for whatever reason. It's very limited in scope and perspective, and it's like, I don't need that. I don't need people leaving trails of shit around my content. I'm not interested. And I know that is ignorant and a level of arrogance there, and I get it. I do get it, but it's just, unfortunately, that's just the way society is, though. And I refuse to play a part in that nonsense. So I'm not going to go out of my way to create content of substance, what I would consider intelligent and educated, for someone just to feel like reacted, insulted, whatever. It's just so limited in scope. And that's what they'll do. Like, anybody has the potential to create their own content. So do what I do. That's what I'm saying. If you really, really response in something, it's like, do your own videos. Because that's why I'm not doing it. So it's not like I'm scared of people's voices. I just don't think most people's voices deserve to be heard when it's limited in scope. If you've got something of substance to say it through a microphone. Do it in the written word with substance somewhere on a blog or something. That's what I think. So it's like, do it where something with status and put your name behind it, not a fake image or a fake name. So anyway, before we get there, because there's a lot of that where people just have this ambiguous persona on online, and it's like that it's hidden. No. So if you're not going to take it serious, I'm not taking it serious. And the same goes with all of this gender biases. It's getting on my nerves. It's really getting on my nerves, to be totally honest. And I've said it in the past that I feel like within myself, I'm only interested in helping people who want to improve their lives, who are actively ready to invest in themselves. So, through whatever I've been through and certain perspectives I have, it will help people reflect upon their own lives. Now, I'm not saying people are going to agree with me on every topic, but it's not the point of agreeing with me. It's to open their eyes to various perspectives. So what will happen inevitably is you'll either agree with me or you'll disagree with me, and it will reinforce your current views and opinions. And there's nothing wrong with that. So when I speak, I'm not saying you have to agree with everything I say. You can take exception to it. That's okay. I can offend you. Again, that's okay to be offended if it's not done to try to be offensive. So like, I don't try to make broad statements to hurt people. I just try to raise awareness to situations, and then I explain how I live my life and the decisions I make. And I own that. So the real problem with this gender bias situation is it's a lack of accountability in people's lives. So they're too busy trying to judge other people and accuse them of this and accuse them of that, and they're not taking any accountability of themselves. So, for instance, you may have a target group of people who have shown you a certain way. Then you sort of naturally look and go, wait a minute, they're all males. Yeah, but if you actually look at all those males, you've probably met them in the same place. They probably share similar personality traits, similar characteristics, similar interests. And then you make a generalized statement about the rest of men in society based on a very small subset of men. Where does it make sense? And I'm not going to sit here and defend myself all the time. I know my personality. I know what I'm like, and it's like, I couldn't care less what a stranger thinks. So that's the sad thing, though. Because when people get offended, they start getting really petty, a lot of them, and I just think it's ridiculous. And I see it all the time. They just minimize people straight away without even knowing them. They'll make some stupid little remark just to try to limit them, and make them seem like they're lower than them. And it's like, that doesn't posture strength. It shows weakness, in my opinion. Like I say, I'm not really interested in trying to uplift people who are ignorant and got no interest in growing and expanding, and they just want to validate their misery. It's like, if that's all you're looking to do, and you don't want to take any accountability, and you're not even prepared to grow, then I'm not interested in helping you, because that's too big an uphill battle. So when it comes to this gender bias, where women hate men, and I'm seeing it a lot, I'm seeing it a real lot, and it's making me get put off the idea of being in relationships myself, to be honest, just because I'm seeing the extent of it in society. Now, again, that's a pocket of society, and there'd be plenty of women that aren't like that. But again, when you start seeing it so much, it does affect. And I think maybe that's why women are starting to hate men, because they keep seeing it all the time. It's not healthy, because it goes both ways, and I say it all the time. There's going to be pockets of men that are bad. There's going to be pockets of men that are kind. There's going to be people in between. You're going to get pockets of women that are bad, pockets of women that are nice. There's some in between. And it just stands to reason. It's like, you can't just judge one gender like it's completely different to your gender or whatever, and it's just because it's confusing, or they're not the same. Even if you just stereotyped and thought about like women in general, you've obviously got younger generation, you've got older generation, but even that doesn't matter in itself, because you get older women that gracefully age. They have wisdom, they've learned a lot through life, and you get some older women who just refuse to grow old gracefully, and they'll just keep trying to be young. So they'll have cosmetic surgeries, they will still try to act young, they try to fit in with the youth. It's all these things. It can be perceived as embarrassing. Likewise, you'll get younger generation of females who maybe they just live in the moment. It can be a bit reckless, and some get pregnant early. These are consequences. You'll also get some that are maybe ahead of their time in terms of age, and they're very mature, and they don't fall into those same patterns. And then you can also get people like, for instance, there's a lot of females that are really clean, tidy, and they're very organized and disciplined. But then you can also get many females who are also disorganized. Their rooms are incredibly messy, like an absolute mess, like really bad. They literally have clothes all over the floor, dirty laundry everywhere. Their desks, which is their makeup area, which would be considered makeup area, would have food everywhere. You'd have like all your various makeups that aren't even, not organized. It's just trash all over the table. And that's what you get. So you get some that are clean and tidy and organized, and you get some that are an absolute mess and they're wild. And then even if you go further than that and you start going into the point of their sexuality and things, some are quite expressive and some are reserved. So some are considered prudish just because they don't talk publicly about their desires and interests, but they keep it contained within closed doors with a partner when they feel safe. And yet there's some that express themselves profoundly, and then they don't even mind doing things or speaking on topics even, publicly and within their group. They have no inhibitions. Now, anyone that thinks I'm targeting women, clearly, like, it's up to them. I'm not targeting women. I'm just making a broad statement that I'm aware of. And it's like, it can't really be denied because it's accurate. So the reality is the same can be said for men, and it's not always, but the stereotype is if you've got a guy that's clean and tidy, they do all things, you'd naturally just think they're gay. It's like, no, some guys have standards. It's easy to generalize people and start saying, oh, well, no, that's just a specific kind because they're gay. That's a different type of guy. It's like, no, it's not. They're not necessarily gay just because it fits your agenda. There's some guys that are literally like the equivalent of the females. So they're very expressive sexually. They don't have many inhibitions, and they may be derogatory to the other gender. But you'll also get some guys who don't feel comfortable in that environment. They actually do respect the opposite gender, and they have standards in their life. And again, this is both sides. But if you're only seeing a subset of people, then you've got to think, where are you placing yourself? And you've got to wonder why you're not evolving beyond that side of life. Because if it's literally the only people you're surrounded by, is it a work environment, or is it a social environment, or is it just what you're seeing online? Because that means if you want to change, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to evolve beyond those types of people. And it's about standards. So if you keep meeting the same type of people, you're going to have to ask the question, why do I keep meeting these same type of people? And it may even be an area you live. It's just full of them. But again, this is not a gender thing. It's a personality thing. And I said it so many times. And then I go through comment sections, and I don't even like comment sections too much, but I'm always just intrigued. An amount of people that just keep hating and hating and hating. And I'm thinking, how is this positive in society? Where is the growth going to be had, and where are people going to learn and evolve? Like, it doesn't make sense to me because there's no growth within it. It's just constant validation of their misery. and someone has to suffer for their validation. And it's just sad. And like I said, I'm not going to keep going around in circles with these topics because I can't bother to heal these people anymore. Like I spoke on it. The reason I speak on it before is to raise awareness so people can self-reflect and then you can learn and grow. But there's too many people in society who are genuinely ignorant. They're absolutely ignorant. And it's like, I'm not prepared to try to help them people. If you want to hate men for the rest of your life and you want to validate that, then by all means, validate it and just live in misery because that's all it's going to bring you. There was someone's comment earlier. I just looked and went, you idiot. Like, you know, you try and be calm about it, but you just can't help it. We're going to have opinions. This woman said, yeah, I don't trust any man. You know, even when I get married, I'm not going to trust them. And I thought, why would you get married then? Is that an insecurity within yourself that you can't be alone? Because that's something else to work on. If you're going to marry someone and you literally don't feel, you're not 100% comfortable and trust them, why would you even consider getting married? Why would you get married with an insecurity like that? If you can't find someone who you genuinely can trust wholeheartedly, then there's no point being in that connection, is there? For me, like this goes off topic slightly, but for me, everything comes down to communication. If you can't communicate with someone 100%, then they're not compatible with you. Then that means there's always going to be agendas, there's going to be secrets, and there's going to be mistrust. If you can communicate 100%, insecurities, your dreams, any little instability, any issue, and it's not to be offensive and they're not going to be offended by it, you can genuinely listen to each other and work through a situation. That shows maturity. That shows you can handle a situation. That shows growth. That's the standard I have in my life. So if someone can't handle that, then I'm definitely not interested. You're either mature enough to handle a relationship or you're not ready for one. And if you're not ready for one, then I'm not wasting my time trying to just convince someone of this and that because it's too much hard work. You have to be confident in yourself before you can handle a relationship. And so I think what it is, people going into relationships, naive, vulnerable, insecure, and then they're displaying that insecurity onto other people. And then they get shocked and offended when it doesn't go their way. And they've met people that may be taken for granted because they picked up on that vulnerability. If you're a strong, confident person, you're more selective of the people you will interact with. Your standards are higher, your boundaries are higher. So you do have to sort of look at that. So anyway, I'm just going to show a little clip here. Like I said, I'm not going to do these videos anymore because I'm sick of trying to convince sections of society that are just plain ignorant. It's like, if you want to be ignorant, just spend your life being ignorant and just see where it gets you, while other people thrive. Because what inevitably will happen is you'll see people having healthy relationships. You have connections. It doesn't even have to be relationships. It can be friendships. It can be colleagues. And there'll be different various genders and various like races, nationalities, religions even. And you'll look and think that's not normal. And it's only because it's not normal in their life because they've set so much division in their life that integration is impossible. Whereas other people are actually accepting of people. And you can learn from them. It's diverse and it's like respectful. And when you meet similar people like that, I think it's incredibly beautiful. But if you're going to close yourself off entirely to that, then you're going to have to accept that that's the life you've built. So if you're going to spend your life, effectively, if you're going to spend your life judging people your whole life, guess what? People are going to spend their life judging you. It's just a reflection. It's a mirror. Until you can make peace with yourself and with others, you're never going to be at peace. Something to think about, but I'm not going to go into too depth with it anymore. It's like, I'm just going to let people hate men if they want and see where it gets them in life. Because look, it's all right to have standards in your life, you know, and there are certain people in society who are horrible, and that stands to reason. But again, it's not a gender thing, it's a personality thing. Like I've been in workplaces myself, like where you're outnumbered. I have high standards in my life. Some would consider me a prude because I don't talk publicly, especially in workplaces, about anything like sexual or anything like that. I don't even find it an interesting conversation to have with random people. I don't have anything to prove, and it's not really something that I have an interest in talking to strangers about, or even just as an interesting conversation. I just think there's more interesting things in society to talk about. You know, that's not really a necessary topic. And I have too much respect for a partner or even an ex-partner to go around discussing personal things like that, because I think that's disgusting. I actually think it's disgusting because when you're in a situation where you've had experiences with people, for me, that's incredibly intimate and personal. And that's like, for me, there's boundaries you don't cross. Even if it's like entertaining or you just want to seem like really popular, it's like, that's a boundary you don't cross. Like, you know, that's the standard that I have in my life. So I don't talk on those topics for entertainment or other people's joy or just to fit in, because I couldn't care less what people think of me. And again, this goes against the stereotype. because the stereotype is that all guys do that. It's like, yeah, because you're trying to you're trying to standardize everybody as the same. I'm saying outright what I'm like, and I know what I'm like, and anybody that meets me would know exactly the same. And yet, people that don't know you will be adamant that no, that's not true. It's like, how could you possibly know that's not true? You don't know me. You're just trying to do it because otherwise it messes up your entire freaking agenda. For that not to be true raises a question about everything. And believe me, I've met other people that do this. I've met plenty of people who do go talking about women and they degrade them and they just objectify them, and then they just become effectively a piece of meat, which is really sick and twisted. And that happens in society. And I talk about it all the time. I've said it so many times. The prolific daters, the ones that are good at dating, are prolific daters. They're the players. So if you go on a date and you go, oh, he's so charming, it's like so perfect. It's like, yeah, that person knows how to date. They've got experience. If you're with someone who maybe is a bit fumbly, maybe they're not quite perfect yet, there's still things to work on, and you think, oh, it was a bit awkward like that or something. They had a nice personality, but they're a little bit awkward. It's like, why not give them a chance then, let them grow into the relationship, because you'll find that they're the ones that probably had standards, or they're just ready just to start dating. You know, if you invest in them, it could be a beautiful relationship. But you invest in the person who seems perfect, there's a good chance that's because they're used to dating, and they're going to, once they've got what they want from you, they're going to move on to the next one because they've perfected it. If it's worked on one woman and then it's worked on another and another and another, even if it doesn't work on you, there's a good chance it will, because of it's like statistics. Once they've figured out how they're going to get your attention and get actually what they want, they'll probably perform the same moves over and over again. That's me stereotyping people, but that will happen in society. I always say about myself, I'm not a dater. I don't like dating. I just want to jump to the freaking fairy tale, the day-to-day activities. You know, that's what I want to get to. I don't like dating. I don't like the awkwardness of it. I hate small talk. I don't want to do all that shit. You know, it's like, I'm not going to be a peacock and try and impress people. I've got no interest in trying to impress anyone. So it's either you like what you see immediately or you don't. And it's like these things are just natural, but I don't want to sort of like have to sort of like make myself look better than I naturally am. I don't want to sort of like try to exaggerate my personality. I don't want to be perfect. I just don't want to do it. So I hate the idea, the even concept of dating in general. I just want to streamline to the relationship. And the problem is, if you're not very good on the dating side of things, people will, like, maybe they'll sidestep you and think it's not going to work out. But yet that was just a small period of a relationship. Once you get past that and you actually get deeper into it, it's actually that's a solid partner. So some people are going to be great in relationships. They're going to be committed. You're going to have beautiful communication. You know, it's going to be expressive and open, and you can literally talk about anything and not feel insecure and not feel not heard. Or you're going to find people who just literally they love the dating game and it never goes beyond that. But again, this digresses. But again, it plays into itself, and the fact that we're stereotyping people as one and the same when actually on an individual basis, people are different. And it's easy to judge people based on your experiences, but then your experiences are limited in the overall scheme of life, because life is huge and there's a huge planet to explore. And there's various cultures to witness, and there's different towns to sort of like venture to. So, and there's people of different professions and different ideals, different characteristics. And I think just pigeonhole people just because you meet a subset of people, it's incredibly naive. It's like if you used to go on holiday, for instance, and you're young, you'll go down the strip where all the clubs are. That's not a life I'm interested in at all. Never have been interested in that shit. I've always been older of mind than I am when I was younger. So I've witnessed family members do. I'm not interested in that lifestyle. So I was always a bit boring as a youth in that sense, but I don't care because it was standards I set. I wasn't interested in that life. But let's say you are interested in that life and it's exciting. For me, it's a headache, but that's me. So let's say you was to go in those situations. It's chaotic. It's messy. And it's all about attention and usually numbers. So you go there with a specific intention. Even if you're ashamed of it after, you know why you're going. Now, you're not always going to go there to flirt with people and be in relationships, have an activity with someone. It might just be you going for fun. So it's not like saying everybody going there is looking for something. But many do. And when they leave, they have this chart where they say how many of the people they've slept with and the interactions, how many people they've kissed and all this stuff. And it's like, the reality is, if that's what you're going on holiday for instance, and then that's the experience you've had, you've really just, and then you sort of target everybody as the same. So let's say you meet a load of guys, they've just took advantage of you. The it wasn't the experience you thought it was going to be. They treated you like an object rather than it be something of passion and things. It wasn't the experience you was looking for, and now you accuse all guys of being the same. It's like maybe most guys in that circumstance are the same. There's a huge other side to guys. And I understand if someone's been hurt, it's going to be hard to look beyond that pain and suffering. But it's like, you've got to learn to heal and grow, And that's got to be by choice. And that's why I say, if someone doesn't want to, I'm not investing my time in trying. It's too big a headache. I've got better things to do in my life than waste my time with someone who is just ignorant. If you're ignorant to the world and you're ignorant to other people and you can't open your mind, then I'm not interested in wasting energy on it. It's just not going to happen. So I'll let you get on in your life and be miserable. It's not for me to sort of try to help everybody, because I want to help people. I want to see people improve, and I want them to live their best life. And again, it's not always going to be in unison with my views and opinions. I have certain opinions that even I know are very, very controversial, but it's maybe I haven't expressed it in exactly the way I mean. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people and hurt them. It's just there's certain parts that I could talk about a lot. There's certain parts of society that trigger me. And when I feel triggered, I feel like defensive of it. And then I go so strong in that direction, it can look like I'm ignorant to other people. It's really not. Like, if we just talk transgender, and it's the hardest topic you could ever talk about. Like, it's truly hard. And I'm not anti-transgender at all, but yeah, I think my views on it makes me appear that way. And I'm saying outright, like, I know my views, and it's hard to explain one way without targeting the other way. I don't care. Like, it's not in an ambivalent, like, it's not like trying to target people in this sense. I couldn't care. It's more like it's not my business. It's like, I don't care what people do with their lives effectively, as long as if you're not hurting anybody. It's like, I don't care. So if, for instance, you're born into a body that doesn't feel natural to you, and you want whatever, if it's genuine and it's not peer pressure and all that thing, it's like, do what you want. It's not hurting anybody. I have no opinion on it one way or another. It's like, that's for you. So that means I'm not anti anything because I don't have an opinion on it. Where I started getting really annoyed was, for instance, if you see sports, it's not fair that other people have this imbalanced participation because someone decides. Now, I know they say decides, and someone would get offended by that because they say it's not. Again, it's not my issue, but my issue comes then when I look at people who are affected by it in a way that's not their fault. So let's say you're participating in a sport. Let's say it's the Olympics. And if it's on a fair playing field, everybody has the same hormones, for instance, and it's the same body density and all these things, women are naturally just more feminine. Now, or not all women, but generalized. That's a fair playing field. If you've got someone that was born a male and they've had hormonal transplants and also, I don't know how that all works, but it would suggest it's not fair. And then that's where I draw a line, because I say, right, okay, that person should have their own. They should have the ability to participate too, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of some other people when there's a bias, So it's like it's a delicate topic. I personally think they should have it should be, to make it completely fair, there should just be their own segregated. That should be a gender. That should be a gender participation thing rather than female male. It should be male female and then maybe transgendered. And that's not trying to segregate to the point where you're just trying to be cruel. It's just to make it fair. Then the other topic I had was dating, because I find that really, really complicated. Like, someone that was a male who now identifies as a woman and has had transplants and things. The problem is they get so defensive that they feel like they should be treated the same. And it's all right wanting to be treated the same and feeling you should. But as for instance, a male, I should have I have autonomy over my choices and my decisions and the life I want. Now, I'm attracted to natural females. And it's an opinion I have, and it's not something I can change just to appease someone. And that's what I got out. I'm not going to go too deep into this because it makes me look like an arsehole, but I'm not. I'm actually very balanced. It's just that because you've got an opinion on it, it looks bad. But just because it's going to offend someone doesn't mean I have to change my values, because that's not how society works. That starts to make other people marginalised. That's where I get annoyed, To stop one area being marginalised, others have to be marginalised. And that's when I just say, well, that's not the answer. That's not the answer at all. Personally, I think if you're transgender, if you can find someone that has no issues with it in terms of relationship, fine. But I think you have to go into it expecting that maybe you're just going to have to meet another transgender, and I think that's fair. So, for instance, I'm only interested in a biological woman, and that's just how I am in terms of relationship. I'm not looking to date 100 people. I just want one special person. And for me, that's someone who was born the opposite gender. And that's what I'm attracted to. That's what I seek. And of course, that makes sense anyway, because if you think, I'm not saying I want children with someone, I've already got a child. But if the potential's there, and that's not something that's possible any other way. And, we all have our own opinion on things. But anyway, I'm trying not to go there because it's dangerous. It's such a dangerous topic, but it's like I'm not trying to be anti anything. It's just that I don't like it when people get suppressed. So if someone else has to be prominent, or there has to be some sort of like resolution to something, I don't like that then other people get marginalized as a consequence, because that's not the answer. That's what I'm getting at. Very complicated topic. But anyway, so this video sort of like just pointed out the men. We've already discussed a lot of it already, but anyway, while working in a male-dominated workplace, again, I've worked in male-dominated workplace, Jenny lost count of how many times I've overheard them talking about women sexually. Yeah, I have as well. As if half of them don't have wives at home, like it's all a scam. Men are all the same. That's the part that pisses me off. You could have just left it there. You could have left it without the men are the same. I'm sick of this shit. All men are the same. Well, that's a great comment to make, because now you've just... And then someone's comment over here. All men cheat. If the opportunity ever presents itself, they take it. I can't even be bothered anymore. I've already said, I was in Crete, Greece last year, 2020, what did we on? 2025, 2024. So I think it was May 2024. I have standards in my life. I have boundaries. I take being a father seriously. I take my vessel seriously. I take myself seriously. I'm not interested in chaos. I'm not interested in anything that can cause issues in my life in a way that I don't have control of. And I take my daughter's life very serious. So I just take life serious in general. I've always wanted to be a father. That's my priority. And I'm not prepared to just go around having situationships with people where it could cause a lot of instability, a lot of controversy. And I don't really see the point anyway, because I have to be mentally stimulated. There has to be something with someone that I'm actually genuinely attracted to. And it's very few and far between in my life. It's very select people. So it's not a case of someone likes the look of me and then they get anywhere. So I don't care how pretty you are. That's irrelevant. It's got to be so much to this that I actually am interested. So it's not about cheating. And I'm single. And I've been single for 8 years. And there was two younger girls, like in early 20s. They were pretty. And they were interested in older guys. So they were flirting with even people older than me, but then they noticed me and then couldn't take their eyes off me. And I was like, I cried. And I was with family, not my daughter, just family. And I was doing everything to avoid eye contact. And they just would not stop trying to bother, like trying to watch, trying to get my attention. They even just laid on the side of the pool while I was in it, just literally just trying to lay around it, anything they could to flirt. And I just thought, for crying out loud. It's like, they're like the peacock, And the point is, I wasn't interested. And I never, ever gave them any indication that I would be interested. You know what I mean? And it's like, I did that when I'm single. So why in a relationship would I do any of those things? And it's like easy to start generalizing people. I'm saying it flat out now. And again, there were people witness. But on the other side of that, couldn't give a shit if anyone believes me or not. These are the stats. I think anyone that hears me talking would understand that I don't shake. I don't hesitate. I am genuinely not interested in any of that shit. It's chaos walking. I just want to be with someone that I can actually trust, have deep conversations with, communicate, have similar ideals and values to life, and build a beautiful future together. My eyes will not wander an inch, because I have high standards. So I only want someone that literally captivates my heart. And then once they have my heart, it's like I have no interest in sharing it with anybody else. So I don't care if someone's pretty. That on its own is never enough. And if I've met my soulmate, I'm already attached to them. So the idea, all this shit, these are just the people. I don't want to generalize people because it's not a good place to be. So it's difficult really to talk on it. But you'll find some people who've dated and dated and dated and dated, and they never take time to themselves because they always have to be in relationships. So that's an insecurity they carry. So because they're desperate all the time, they find themselves in situations that really don't serve them any good. And some people naturally self-sabotage, so they'll find issues in a relationship just because they're scared of it going further. There's all these things. And when I see people keep making the same argument that all men are the same, for me, it's like you are just a very scared person in life. You haven't grown. You're not evolved. You're not intelligent enough to handle situations. And until you, because it stands to reason, and an intelligent person would understand various perspectives. An intelligent person has a broader mindset. So it doesn't display intelligence when you make stereotypical argument. In my opinion, that shows weakness. It just shows a lack of growth and stagnancy. And it's like, if you're not developed, then you really shouldn't be dating anyway. You've got to work on yourself, evolve, and start seeing the world in a bigger picture than keep attacking. So yeah, I'm not going to keep talking on it anymore, because I think personally people need to start opening their own eyes, and it shouldn't be that others have to paint the picture for them and show them. It's like, if you can't see it for yourself, then I can't help you. And I'm not going to go through the comments because I can't be asked of it. It does my head in. I don't even want to hear about this shit anymore. Anytime I hear any of these stereotypical arguments, whether it's men or women or anything of any other gender, like transgender, anything there's an argument on sexuality, genders, even race, religion, I'm just going to turn a blind eye to it, because I've got no time for it anymore. It's a revolving circle. It doesn't change. Ignorance chooses ignorance. And sometimes it's a hard battle to fight, because they get so opinionated and dug in. They don't want to listen in any way. It's almost like it just becomes a barking match, you know? I can't be bothered with that. So I know how I perceive life. I'm always evolving. I'm always learning. I'm always watching people. And I always see how society is forming and whereabouts we are. And I have high values in my life, and I really couldn't care less, in all honesty, how other people decide to live their life. If you want to live your life distance from everything, you want to sort of live your life stereotyping people, you're marginalizing, if it helps, gives you peace somehow, which it clearly don't, but whatever, then it's like, live your life doing that. I'll live my life to the standards I set. And I take people at face value on an individual basis, rather than their color, race, culture, religion, gender. I don't look at any of those things. I look at your soul level, your personality, and that's how I assess people. And I've never, ever judged anybody in any other way. And going forward, I won't either, because I've got too much integrity. I've got too much intelligence to even diminish that, because I understand that we all have flaws. We all have vulnerabilities. We all have some beautiful traits too. And sometimes it's about bringing it out of people. But I think when some people really do need to heal, it's up to them to do their healing, because you can't do it for them. You know, you can help provide the tools. That I can help with my books. I can help with the videos, and I can talk on topics, but ultimately, it's not I can't do it for them, though. You know, you can't make people read the text. You can't make people implement things in their life. I can't make people listen and watch. And it's not my job to. All I can do is make it available. People can do what they want with it. But I'm refusing to go on these topics anymore, because I just getting fed up. It's so disrespectful. Because you'll find that when people try to argue back in some way, even if they try and do it in a productive way, if you watch, it's actually a real uphill battle. It's a lot harder to get your message across, because of the fallback and the fact that people just want to attack. And it's like, it makes no difference to my life, though. When you think about it, it's like, I could convince you, I could not convince you, I could help you, I could not help you. It's like, you need to help yourself. How someone views me has no bearing on my life in any way. It never has. So from that point of view, I couldn't care less. So then why do I care? I care because innocent people get targeted and painted in a certain way that's not fair to their values and the way they live and who they are. It's not fair, and it shouldn't happen. That's the only reason I talk on it. So unfortunately, other people's ignorance can affect other people's lives, and I find that quite worrying. But yeah, I'm not going down this path anymore. It's so boring to me.